Welcome back to Falkirk Figures, where today I'm going to be unboxing a vintage Kenner Mask vehicle and action figure set. So this is Dynamo from the Kenner Mask action figure and vehicle range. This is one of the kind of smaller vehicles, I think, from the Mask range, and it comes with Bruce Sato, I believe. Is that who it is that's in this? Yeah, Bruce Sato is the Mask action figure that he comes with. So Mask is before my time, I'm going to be honest. It's not the type of thing that I'm hugely familiar with. My memories of Mask are of like my big cousins having some of them and kind of older kids that the family knew, like they had Mask toys. And if I had any, I'm not sure I did have any, but if I did have any, it would have been things that I'd picked up at like primary school jumble sales, or even like things that had been passed down again from like my big cousins or something. I didn't really have any Mask toys that I can think of, but I definitely remember them. I mean, they came out. I did a little bit of research because I'm not hugely familiar with Mask. I did a bit of research in the toy line, the cartoon series it was based on. I thought, well, you could argue that the cartoon was based on the toy line because at that time most cartoons were there to promote toys. But the cartoon ran from 1985 to 1986, and the toys were produced between 1985 and 1988. So I was alive at that time, the late 80s. I was alive, but I was very young. I mean, I wasn't going down to Woolworths for my pocket money at that time. I was very young. So I probably missed these toys, just kind of missed the cut off of these toys. They're almost like in a category with Thundercats and He-Man, Masters of the Universe, because those are toys that I remember. I can remember seeing them. I can remember seeing adverts. I can remember seeing them in like people playing with them and stuff. But I don't remember buying them. I don't remember having them. I think they were just a bit before my time. Yeah. So the story for Mask, I don't know how familiar other people will be with this franchise, but I watched the episode. I watched the pilot episode of Mask just to kind of make sure I knew what I was talking about, or had some kind of point of reference, I suppose. I don't know that I know what I'm talking about, but best I can tell, it's like some kind of secret agency, and the Mask guys there's a group of them. They hang out in Boulder Hill, which is like a secret hideout that's in a mountain disguised as a petrol station or a gas station, if you like. And all their vehicles are hidden inside the hill, and then they do the kind of Thunderbirds Tracy Island, or the Batman come out the Batcave. Whenever they get the call, everything just kind of folds back and they come out in their vehicles. They all have a different vehicle. Every Mask character has a different vehicle that he drives. So this one, Dynamo, this one belongs to Bruce Sato, yeah. So as far as I can tell, Bruce is the kind of academic. He's like an engineer. He's the guy that designs a lot of the machines and does repairs on the machines and that kind of stuff. He's like a scientist almost within the team. And yeah, the one thing I don't really understand, I didn't see it in the cartoon, was why they've got like this shadow character. It comes with two figures. I don't know if you can see that there. But you get the figure that goes with the vehicle. So this one's Bruce Sato, but then you also get like a shadow or a hologram version of that character as well. I suppose it's so you've got two guys to drive, because the vehicle's all kind of split into two separate vehicles. I think that's a gimmick, more or less. But yeah, so I think that's why you've got the actual character and then the character that a kind of shadow version, so that you can drive two vehicles at once. But I don't know. I mean, certainly the episode of the show that I watched, there was no hint that these guys had like shadow form or anything like that. So it's a bit of a strange one. But anyway, let's crack on. Let's get it opened. man, that is really, really stiff trying to get that out there. So, let's see how we go. Get the box. Back to front. Right, so here are the guys. Anyway, here's Bruce. That's in there in his little purple get up. And this other guy, oh, the tape is like, oh, I don't know what you would call that. The tape looks like it's gone kind of caramelized or something. It's all horrible looking. Yeah, so there's Bruce. And he's got his little mask helmet as well. That obviously is part of the gimmick, because they all wear their helmet when they go into action. Like that's like the kind of, I suppose, the equivalent of the Power Rangers, like putting their suits on. And this is Bruce in his kind of shadow form. Is, I don't know what, like if it's meant to be a shadow or a hologram version of himself. I'm not sure, but anyway, some kind of transparent, translucent version of Bruce as well. So let's see if we can get the vehicle out. Oh, it's pretty straightforward. I thought it was going to be like lots and lots of different layers to unpack, but no, you just pull that back and you've got essentially, I think, the two different levels of the vehicle. So looks like that just clicks on there. I'll see if I can get some instructions. Turbine chopper. Yeah, so I think one just clicks on the other. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to stop the video for a second, have a quick read of the instructions, see if I can figure it out, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so here's Bruce inside the Dynamo buggy. Man, it's not great. Like, I mean, I took a few minutes here to put it together, and one thing that happened immediately is these little things that were like as you can see in his shadow guy, he's got little hands on the head of his helmet. They just snapped. They were so brittle. I mean, I suppose it's like, what, nearly 40 years old, this toy? 35 years old. So no surprise there, but they just snapped off like with hardly touching them. One side just came off straight away, and the other side I looked at and it had bent completely back, so and it just came off. So straight away, it's not stood up the test of time. But yeah, so this is like a buggy, like an off-road, like student buggy kind of thing, like a 4x4 thing, that turns into, as you can see on the box, so it turns into a kind of helicopter, I suppose. I think that's what it's meant to be. It's like a helicopter. But when I saw that in the box, again, I'm not hugely familiar with these toys, but when I saw that in the box, I thought, so there must be like a release button or something that you press and it pops out and you can fly it above, but not really. I mean, I've read the instructions. It tells you how to put it together, but it doesn't really say anything about how to pull it apart, you know, so there's not like a release or anything that you just press and it snaps out of place. So I think you just kind of have to pull it apart, really. Like, so, like, lift it out and there's the helicopter. So these kind of like fenders, I suppose, for the wheels, they become the blades. Pop up, become the blades. You can lift this part up here. At least you could a minute ago. Yep, there you go. And then he's got his helicopter. Now, the box would suggest that once you've done that, the other character, the kind of shadow character, can ride this vehicle, but that doesn't have a seat or anything. I mean, it looks like it's got rocket launchers or something on the chassis. I'm not entirely sure what you're meant to do with it, but yeah, so he can, I suppose he can't sit in it. He can continue to drive that along the road, even though there's no steering wheel, no pedals or anything. And Bruce can fly off in his helicopter. But yeah, that's a bit rubbish, to be honest, I think. I don't know. I know this is one of the smaller vehicles in the line. I think, well, obviously it is. I wouldn't be opening up something from the 80s if it was one of the bigger play sets. I mean, I did get this really cheap. I found this vehicle doesn't go for very much anyway, in the Mask series, but this one, the box is all banged up and damaged, so I did get a really good deal on it. It wasn't very expensive at all. So, you know, it's maybe the kind of throwaway items in the line. I know that the Boulder Hill playset goes for a lot of money, and some of the bigger vehicles that again I'm not hugely familiar with what they're all called, but like the big Arctic lorry one, and then there's like a kind of Hispanic lowrider type car as well. I think they go for big money. And they're probably better toys, is what I'm trying to get at. They're probably kind of more durable, more robust, more intricate toys. But for what this is, I mean, I don't know what this would have retailed for in the 80s, but it's not just a figure, it's like a figure and vehicle. So you're assuming you're going to pay a little bit more than you would if you were just buying the guys. And I mean, the vehicle really doesn't do much. It's not really that great. There's no action. There's no like rockets that come out or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm not hugely convinced that this is a decent bit of kit. Um, yeah, I always kind of thought that because you get the two figures in the mask. I remember thinking this when I was younger. How they all have their kind of shadow character or their hologram character or whatever. Then at least if you've got both of them, then you can play. But I don't know. It's just kind of bizarre having a different version of the same character. That for me, you wouldn't really be creating any storylines with two guys the same who are the same person. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. I was quite excited to get these. Again, not something I was looking for. I was just having a browse online, see what I could find. And because of the price of these and because of when they're from and stuff, I thought, yeah, I'll have a go at that. I'll give them an unboxing, have a look. But to be honest, I'm pretty disappointed. I mean, if you look at the figs, Bruce is he's kind of strapped in there in the helicopter, but this is essentially the same figure. These are tiny. I mean, this has got to be the smallest action figure that was certainly on the market then. But I mean, has there ever been Mighty Max? I suppose is the obvious answer to that. But Mighty Max at least came with like a play set and stuff that you could have a bit of a background story going on. But with these guys, I don't know. They're just really, really small, and they have like they bend at the knees, which I wasn't expecting. I thought they were just going to have legs and arms that move, but they do bend at the knees. So I suppose that's at least something decent. And the removable helmet as well, I suppose, is a bonus. But this guy, not so much the real Bruce. I mean, he's got it as well, but this hologram one is very, very sticky. That way that like figures. Sometimes it happens with wrestling figures. If you open them up and they've got like kind of vinyl products on them or something, like if they're wearing a jacket or a waistcoat or something that's vinyl, it gets a bit sticky if it's been in the box for all those years. Well, he's really sticky, like very, very. I can feel it kind of all over my hands just holding them. Bruce has got the same issue, but not nowhere near to the same extent. So I don't know if it's because this is made of a different material or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you can't really complain about that because, as I say, it's what they now 35-ish years old. I mean, it's an interesting toy. Oh, I think that's back to front. Interesting toy, interesting concept. I mean, what I kind of thought when I was watching the cartoon was that I could see why people would be interested in this. It was like a kind of interesting take on the kind of spy. Essentially it was the Thunderbirds. I mean, it was probably like an American version of Thunderbirds. Really struggling to get his helmet back on. And the Thunderbirds was quite a cool concept. That had a strong fan base, and this really is like an American version of that. So I could see why it would appeal to kids in the 80s. I could see why people would want to have them. And then, as I say, if you had some of the bigger vehicles, some of the more intricate ones that had all the little secret compartments and stuff, it probably would have been fun to play with. But this one, I mean, even if I'd had this as a at the time it came out, I was like very, very young. But even if I'd had it as like an 8, 9, 10-year-old, I think I'd get bored with it. I think there's only so much you could do with that, and then you'd probably just build it back together and chuck it in the toy box or put it on the shelf or something. I don't think it'd get played with too much. Yeah. So I mean, interesting to get something as old as that, because as I say, that era, Mask, Thundercats, He-Man. It's very, very difficult to get anything like that for a decent price, and something at a price where you can actually justify unboxing it to have a look is even more rare. So you're certainly not going to get like a Thundercats figure or a He-Man figure from the original lineups and take them out of box. Is that clicked in? Oh, I can't get that to click back in. So it's a nice opportunity to get something from that era of toys to have a look at. But yeah, not hugely impressed, to be honest with you. And I think this will probably be the only mask toy that I actually have. I'll maybe see if I can get a replacement helmet for Bruce to replace these two wee things that snapped off, and then just stick them on the shelf. But no, I think even the figures, I had a look at other stuff online. I don't know why this is so cheap, because it is, you can get the Dynamo vehicle from a few different places and it's never very expensive. You know, I mean, you're talking less than 50, probably less than 40 actually, to get one that's mint in a mint box. And as I say, the box I got was all bagged up, so I got it a lot cheaper than that. So yeah, but other than that, the other mass figures and the other mass vehicles are all pretty expensive to get. Even some of the loose ones, some of the vehicles loose, you know, complete loose, obviously, are tricky to come by. They cost a fair bit of coin to get them. So yeah, this is a bit of an anomaly, this one really, that it was so accessible and so gettable. So as I say, happy I took the punt on it. Happy I had a chance and took out the box, had a look. But yeah, not a line I'm hugely familiar with, and not a line I think I'm going to become very much more familiar with based on that experience. One thing I thought was pretty funny watching the cartoon was that at the end of the cartoon, there's like a public service thing. So I fast forwarded to a couple of other episodes. As I say, I watched the pilot episode, then I looked up a couple of others and just fast forwarded to the end to check if that was a consistent feature, which it was. So there's a kid in it. So Matt Tracker's the main guy. He's like the leader of Mask, and his son Scott is a character in it as well. And he's always kind of getting into scrapes and causing them headaches and stuff. So at the end of it, he's kind of doing something silly, and then there's like a public service. Oh, you should never do this. You know, never talk to strangers. Always look before you cross the road. All this kind of stuff. It's like a PSA announcement for kids. So I thought that was quite funny that they kind of factored that into every episode. But yeah, so nostalgia value is there. It was cool to have it open it up the box, have a look at it. Actually, interesting to go back and watch the cartoon. But yeah, I think that is my mask figure X itch, even well and truly scratched. So I'll call it a halt there with this line. But anyway, that's it for this video. A few more similar things coming up. If you like this and you want to see some more like this, subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment. Let me know. I mean, obviously, I'm not very knowledgeable about the mask line, so educate me. Drop a comment. Tell me about your mask figures, your memories of masks, and yeah, give me some info that I can build up my useless knowledge base with. And yeah, like, share, subscribe. Stay safe. Speak soon.